Hi, Priya. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you, Sabahat. Is
Sabah.
that right? Yeah. Sorry if I did pronounce your name wrong, but yeah, it's a pleasure for me to talk to you as well. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Of course. And the really exciting part is that you're tuning in from India, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's
How
exciting.
it is exciting. I think that's what I've been saying that because of this pandemic, we are now able to have virtual conferences and people tuning in as speakers from all over the world, as attendees from all over the world. So that is definitely a plus side to this pandemic.
Definitely, definitely. And let me share one experience with you. Since March, because of the pandemic, I have spoken, I think, around 15 webinars and conferences all across the globe where I wouldn't have dreamt of going also.
I love
So
it.
it's just opened up a world of opportunities.
And this
Yeah.
is the kind of message that we need to have people focus
Yeah.
on, right? In the world, because it's such a lot of people are feeling the stresses of of COVID and pandemic. It gets people down, but I think when we start focusing on all the pluses that's coming out, that's where we actually feel like, oh, this is not so bad, right?
Yeah, everything has a plus and a negative point. It's how you look at it. That's what I feel. Yes, I am locked on. Believe me or not, I am in this four walls from March 22nd. I've now stepped out of my house because
Oh,
we already went into lockdown and there was a lot of work pressure to keep the lights on. I mean, keep business as usual. I didn't have time to go out, and post that, the infection rate started becoming very high, and I'm very scared. I have low immunity, so I decided to stay at home. Yeah, but yeah, see, I decided not to get bogged down by all this pandemic and all the negative
yeah.
things. Yeah, and I start reaching out to different chapters and see if there is a speaking opportunity for me, and I get to know people like you, right? So many people from so many countries, diverse cultures, diverse ways of working. It is amazing. I just love it.
It is amazing. And I love that mindset. And that's the kind of mindset I share too, that it is about what you make of it and the perspective that you have when going into any situation.
Yeah.
And on that note, I want to talk a bit about your session that you have coming up. It's called Tomorrow's Teams Today, and about how to collaborate and how to have that mindset, I think, right? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's about how do you build a future fit team, and that you can build only not when you go to the future, but when you focus on the skills today.
Mm.
And it's about, it's about the basic things we already know, but it's about, collaboration, befriending the technology, keeping the customer at heart, and being agile all the way. So it's about, collaborating with everyone within teams, across teams, because we are no longer isolated. Of course we are isolated because of social distancing, but our projects are not isolated. It is like cutting across boundaries of your organization. So how do you collaborate with teams who don't report to you? How
Mm.
do you influence them? And those are the skills that we need to build today, so
Yeah.
that tomorrow we have a teams who are ready for anything.
Exactly. You're right. Because I've worked in organizations too, where I've had to work with different teams in different parts of the organization, or even different parts of the country, different parts of North America, right?
Yeah.
So, so if you could give maybe just one thing, one like, whether it's a scale or one approach that I can take to a team, just one thing, to make it easy for me to say persuade other teams who don't know how to, like, who maybe haven't worked with me before, or who are not familiar with my team here in Canada. So what is one thing I can keep in mind?
So one thing is to align everyone together towards a common vision. Okay, it's not that this is your piece of work you have to give me by the end of November. That is not going to work anymore. So you make them understand the why it is important to them as well, and that you can do only when you come together, do a visioning exercise, and align them to a common goal. So I hear, even forget different organizations, even within the project teams, people don't know why they are working for a module. And when they come to integrate the modules, it doesn't work. And then they start blaming each other, right?
Of course.
So, I mean, how do you get everyone together and understand the big picture and align them to the common goal? So that's that one thing. I think if everyone focuses on it, would work. Of course, it's not easy, but yes, we can take baby steps towards it. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. You said like getting everyone on the right page, doing a visioning exercise. We all have the same goals. I think that is, you're right, so important. And that's where a lot of teams fail. So I love that you're going to be talking about that. Can people expect a more of an interactive session, or should they be ready to take notes? How is the session going to be?
Sure. So now I expect it to be a little interactive, and I've done this at 3-4 times now. So there is an action taking resource. It's a document where there are questions. And while I go through all these principles, there are 4 principles, I ask them to pause and think on those questions and reflect and share any tips. I will share like anecdotes, a series of stories, what I have leveraged so that my future is becoming bright. And while I narrate those stories, I encourage people to share their tips as well, and some amazing tips I've heard and from other webinars, and I can share those as well during my session.
Great. Sounds really, really interesting. I think people will get a lot out of it. I can't wait to be there and hear this topic as well, because I think there is something that we can all actually take away and apply right away.
Sure. And it is, although it looks a little futuristic, it is about building your teams today. Correct. And I had questions that, is it on team building? Is it like team collaboration and all? It is about that, but how a leader can align them towards those principles.
Right. How do we get ready today to be ready for that tomorrow? Yeah. I love that.
Tomorrow. And there is a very nice phrase that I use. I don't know if it's nice, but I found it very appealing. And it is called the overmorrow. Do you know what overmorrow is all about?
No. Tell me.
I learned that, and I introduced that in my session. It is, overmorrow is the term for day after tomorrow. So okay. The day after tomorrow, in the post-pandemic era, how it will be and what skills do we need to make our teams future fit for that overmorrow.
Overmorrow. Cool. Well, I've learned something new today, so thank you so much for that. So if people want to find out more about you before the conference, can they go on LinkedIn, or do you have a website? How can they find you?
Of course, LinkedIn. I'm there on LinkedIn all over the place. And I love to interact with people over on LinkedIn. I would love if people would send me a connect request, or they ask me questions before the session. I can definitely, answer those questions, or even modify my session to, kind of suit what they would want to learn like today. So definitely do connect with me at LinkedIn. It's Priya Patra. So if you search, you will find me. And I'm also on Twitter and Facebook as well. So yeah,
great.
Any channel, I'm fine.
Love it. You're everywhere. Thank you so much, Priya. It was really great chatting with you, and I can't wait for your session on December 1st.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Sabahat. And you have a good day.